Good morning, all. Good morning, everyone. Welcome you all and thank you all for the joining us for today's webinar. I, Dr. Neeraj Kumar Bansal, PhD Coordinator, Jay Institute of Nursing and Research, BISM Group of Studies, Gwalior. Welcome you all in this today's event. Today we are hosting the first lecture of live webinar series on the topic Standard Operating Procedures for Restarting Nursing Institutions, part of a COVID-19 challenges. The aim of this webinar is to share information regarding how to prepare and plan for reopening nursing institutions after COVID-19 and to dialogue around the common challenges to be expected and the ways to deal them. We have with us today's speaker, Dr. Darwin Das, Professor and Head, Department of Medical Surgical Nursing, Bombay Hospital College of Nursing, Indore, Madhya Pradesh. Ma'am has pursued her PhD in 2019 in Medical Surgical Nursing. She has a total experience of more than 15 years in the field of nursing. Ma'am has contributed many activities in the field of nursing through the conferences, seminars, and participated in the various activities in the field of nursing education. Today, we also have Honorable Chairman, Dr. Sunil Kumar Singh Rathore, sir, Chairman, VISM Group of Studies, with us. Sir is an eminent academician, with a great visionary, futuristic leader, with his dedication, with his advocacy in the field of nursing. So I welcome both of you, ma'am. Welcome you, ma'am. Dr. Darwin Das, ma'am. Welcome, sir. Chairman, sir, welcome. Firstly, I request our chairman, sir, to kindly suggest few words to the audience.
सभी को मेरा नमस्कार। प्रोफेसर डार्विन, आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि आज आप हमारे साथ जुड़ रहे हैं। टॉपिक बहुत अच्छा लिया गया है। वास्तव में कोरोना काल में है, इससे पहले ऐसा कहा जाता था कि नर्स का जो एक जीवन या जो उसके बारे में सोच थी आज बिल्कुल बदल चुकी है, क्योंकि जिस तरह से हम लोग खाकी वर्दी से देश की सीमाओं को सुरक्षित करते थे, आज शायद उससे बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारी आज नर्सेस पे आ गई है, डॉक्टर्स पे आ गई है। इस संकट के काल में हमें किस तरह से आज हमें हर हाल में ट्रेंड नर्सिंग स्टूडेंट चाहिए, तो उसमें नर्सिंग इंस्टीट्यूट को किस तरह से रन किया जाए, जो आपने आज टॉपिक सेलेक्ट किया, रियली मैं सभी को इसके लिए धन्यवाद देता हूँ। प्रोफेसर बंसल, प्रिंसिपल नर्सिंग, डीन नर्सिंग जय इंस्टीट्यूट, कि आज हम दोबारा से रीस्टार्ट करें और एक एनर्जेटिक उसमें बच्चों को समझा के कि बच्चों वास्तव में देश की तुम्हारी जरूरत है। आज जब आप सशक्त होंगे, आप इंटेलेक्चुअल होंगे, आप नॉलेजेबल होंगे, जब भी आज देश सुरक्षित होगा। तो ऐसे इस वेबिनार में जितने भी पार्टिसिपेंट्स, प्रोफेसर्स और स्पीकर्स, मैं सभी का जय नर्सिंग रिसर्च और VISM ग्रुप की तरफ से सबको स्वागत करता हूँ कि आप प्रोफेसर डार्विन को सुनिए, समझिए और कुछ सॉल्यूशंस निकालिए। इसमें क्वेश्चनिंग भी होना चाहिए कि हम किस तरह से इंस्टीट्यूट्स को रन करें और नर्सिंग को एक जिम्मेदार नर्सिस देश को और विश्व को प्रोवाइड कराएं, जिससे कि आगे को हम अच्छा से अच्छा बना सके। सभी को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your very valuable words. I appreciate, as you are already have a great leadership in the field of administration. I thank you so much, sir, for your valuable words. Now I request our speaker of today's event, Professor Dr. Darwin Das, ma'am, to kindly start the topic, which is on standard operating procedures for restarting the nursing institutions, part of a COVID-19 challenges. Please, ma'am.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Neeraj, for giving the round of introduction, and I welcome all the delegates for joining this webinar, and I thanks to management of Jain Institute of Nursing and Research for giving me this opportunity with dealing with the topic. So I am dealing on the topic So today I am dealing with the topic that is SOP for restarting the nursing institution part of COVID-19 challenge. So with this, we start our today's topic. So I share our slide. So my slides are visible to all of you. So my slides are visible to all. So we start our slides. So according to the introduction, these lines are familiar with all of you that we are previously read in the newspaper also. In January 2020, the World Health Organization WHO declared the outbreak of a new coronavirus disease in Wuhan, and it became public health emergency of international concern. WHO also has declared it as a pandemic and affecting more than 115 countries around the world. In India has seen its first COVID-19 case in Kerala on 38 January 2020. So with this, over the pandemic situation, countries around the world or around the globe are facing different challenges. And these challenges are overburdened, that is from healthcare systems to the growing economic despair. During this lockdown period of time, every institution, every organization of the country become despair, and we are facing the different challenges in front of us. So across these challenges, the one big challenge for the nursing institution is how we can reopen our educational institution, because our students are very precious to us, and the safety of this purpose, it is very much important that how we can reopen the institution, that is the nursing institution. In the event of nursing institution closures, it's recommended that to mitigate against the possible negative impacts on the students' learning and well-being. This means that we have to plan and our plan of actions should be ensure the continuity of learning, include remote learning options such as online education strategies, radio broadcast of academic contents, and access to essential services to all the students. These plans should be include necessary steps for the eventual safe of reopening of institutions. So for the recommendations, how we can maintain the healthy institutions. So the actions are, we should provide the information to the students about about the hand washing, and also hand washing with soap and the hand sanitizer. As the nursing personnel, our students are sensitized with this hand washing, but frequently we have to keep in mind that we should sensitize our students that frequently they can wash their hands and also use the sanitizers, and also prepare and maintain the hand washing stations if possible, where the places are in entrance or exit of the classrooms, or near to the mess, or near to the washroom areas. So these stations can be prepared by the authorities for the hand washing purposes. Regarding to the coughing etiquettes, we should also inform to the students that when they are coughing or sneezing, they should use the tissue papers or discard it very safely in the dustbin, in the closed dustbins, and also avoid to touch face, eyes, mouth, and nose. Sick students and teachers and other staff should not come to the college. It is mandatory and inform to the staff and the sick students. And also plan ahead the health authorities. What are the action of plans and policies we are prepared in the college? It should also discuss with the staffs and the health authorities, and also we can prepare the contact list which are used in the emergency situations. So these are the points we can take in actions when we are go through with the guidelines of SOP. And next is clean and disinfect college building, classrooms, especially the water and sanitation facilities, at least once on a day. And particularly the surface that are more touched by the peoples, that is the railing, lunch tables, door and window handles, teaching and learning aids. So these are should be clean and should be sanitized once in a day. Then encourage the students to ask questions and express their concern and queries, because nowadays we are very much see the scenario that everyone is feeling like panic situation. So as compared with our students also, they are also feel like this. So we have to address their question, we have to clear their queries, and we have to come up with the students and share the procedures with the staffs and parents and students with prior to the reopening of the institutions, so we can discuss with the parents and caregivers and also with the stakeholders, and also provide the mental health support to the students. It helps to prevent the stigma and discrimination, and also avoid the stereotype behavior when they are talking with the type of this virus. So we have to provide the mental support to the students. It is very much important nowadays. Then institutions should promote social distancing, including that limiting the large group of students coming together in the premises of the college. We should instruct them they are not join in groups and come in the college. We should plan like this, and also canceling the assemblies, sports games, and other events that create crowded in the institution or the crowded conditions. When possible, create a space between the desk of the students. It can be arranged in the class like this, that the distance should be at least 1 meter apart. The next is promote information sharing. It is very much important that what are the policies, what are the action of plans we are formulate in the college level for the students. It should be communicated with the students, with their parents, with the caregivers, so we can provide the update information of the disease situation, and including the how we can prevent it and how we can control it, the efforts that we are plan at the college level. And reinforce that caregivers should alert the college authorities if someone in their home has been diagnosed with COVID-19 and keep their child at home. Utilize parent-teacher committee and other mechanisms to promote information sharing. We can also prepare the WhatsApp group of these committees and share the information with the parents, and also with the send mails to the parents and share the information. Also be sure to address the children's questions and concerns. We can develop the child-friendly materials and also displayed in the notice board, that and also placed in the central locations where they can see these posters and gain the information, gain the knowledge. So next is we are discussed about what are the practices we should do or we will do in our institutions when when the organizations are becoming or reopening at a time. Then comes to the SOP guidelines for the academics. These are also helpful guidelines that we go through it and plan accordingly for reopening of our institutions. So first is teaching and learning process. In this, online modes of teaching can be used to continue the educational process by making effective use of technology and other available options that continuously we are plan our timetable like this, that we can these timetables can communicate with our students and take online classes like with the Google Meet or with the Zoom, and we can use this technology. The institutions will be responsible to maintain the details of class taken subject-wise and also maintain the attendance and the assignments that we are giving to the students, and they are submitted to us. So all these records are maintained by the institution. It is the responsibility whether it can be given by the online, but it is the responsibility that we can maintain the records. Next is virtual learning. Clinical learning can be delivered by sharing records, which are the visual and audio aids, which are prepared in the colleges for the clinical procedures. They are discussed in the skill labs, and also we can use the digital resources like YouTube, and also the case scenarios which are discussed by the expert in the YouTube or in the Google. For the attendance, the lockdown period can be used as theory block to cover the theory portions of the syllabus in various subjects. In this manner, if we consider this lockdown period as a theory block, so there is no chances of reducing the percentage of attendance of the students. And the period of lockdown may be treated as deemed to be attended by all the students by calculating the requirement of minimum percentage of attendance. Then next is plan for continuity of learning. What are the plans we are prepared in our college level that it helpful for our students when we are reopening the institutions? So use online and e-learning strategies. We can regularly plan the classes like e-learning or online classes and inform to the students. Assigning reading and exercise for home study, and also use radio and television broadcast of academic contents that Doordarshan has already do this broadcast for the 10th and 12th classes, and also assigning teachers to conduct remote daily and also weekly follow-up with the students. When we take this class through online, we can take the follow-up with the students, whether they are go through with the contents, whether they are clear with their contents, and also and also interact with the students whether they are well or not. So in this manner, we can contact with our students and help them to read the matters, and also review and develop the educational strategies. The strategies which we already planned, it should be evaluated, and if any strategies can be required to renew or to plan it again, we can plan it again, and it can be implemented again with the students. And it should be like this, that the strategies are the fruitful. Academic calendar. The dates suggested are based on the extension of lockdown period with a specific emphasis on social distancing norms. 2 months extension is granted for conduct of examination by ensuring the completion of clinical requirement. And this is for the session of 2019 and 2020. Guidelines for the examination. In this internal assessment, it is presumed that before the March or before the lockdown period, all the institutions would have completed the sessional examinations. So all of these are to be considered in the internal assessment of students. Online classes and assessment done during this lockdown can also be considered in the internal assessment when internal assessment of the students are calculated. Attendance requirement for clinical, the theory attendance remains the same, that is 80%. Previously by the university, it is said that the theory attendance should be 80%. And this time also it should be 80%. But in the clinical attendance, 100% of attendance is in each practical areas is relaxed by the university up to 80%. Whatever essential clinical experience is missed due to COVID lockdown is to be completed in the internship period of final year. It should be completed in the internship of the final years when they reach to the final year, but it is exceptional for those students which are presently studying in the final year. Clinical requirements. Skill lab and clinical procedure ratio in the logbook can be relaxed by allowing skill labs procedures up to the 30%. It means like this, the 30% of the clinical requirement can be relaxed. It can be completed in the skill labs by the students. Other written assignments relevant to case study that need to be done in the clinical areas can be replaced by allowing up to the 30% in the skill lab by using the scenarios or the virtual learnings. By giving the written scenario, we can cover the case study and case presentation of the students, and also by using the virtual learning. If clinical requirement is not feasible in respect to MLHP, then the institutions can ensure the completions through the skill lab or through the simulation, that is help in the skills lab. The next point under this guidelines are simplified mode of method of examinations. In this, theory examination may be conducted after lockdown opens by maintaining social distancing norms with less number of students, preferably it may be batch-wise. The examination may be completed in multiple shifts, and the duration of the exam is reduced to 2 hours. Next is practical examination. It will be conducted either by the relaxation of lockdown period in the clinical setting or in the simulation setup by using the OSCE approach for the evaluation of clinical exams. And also the examining bodies are given relaxation to appoint external practical examiner from the local deemed universities or local colleges from the same city. So these relaxations are given by the universities for conducting the practical exams. The student should be informed well in advance, at least 1 week earlier, about the conduct of examination and other activities. So it will help the students to prepare with their exams and to prepare with their activities. Any students failing, if any students in failing examinations will be provisionally promoted to the next year. However, such students will have to appear in the supplementary examination along with the term examination whenever examination is held next and clear the pending examination. It should be mandatory for the students who are fail or who are not appearing in the exams. For the final year students, the students in the final year passing out of nursing course will have to compulsory that they should undergo with the theory and practical examination before the declaration of the result. And the examining authority may as soon as possible conduct the theory and practical examination for the final years and announce the result in the bonded time. So the career of our students cannot be disturbed. Guidelines for the thesis submission. For the postgraduate nursing students and their guides will ensure that the work done for the thesis should be in the regulatory requirement and ready for submission in the allotted time. The universities may adopt strategies like online submission of dissertation in view of prevailing the circumstances which we are facing nowadays. General guidelines. There should be no additional cost to students as a result of the disruptions occurred in the teaching and learning and evaluation process. Not additional any charges is applied to the students. The faculty and supportive staff utilizing this period to connect to nursing students through various teaching learning platforms using the digital technologies. Now only we are connect with each other through the webinar, and we are share our views, our ideas. So these are the strategies, these are the technologies which we can use nowadays. In the next slide, based on the INC guidelines, each university or examining authority may chart out its own plan of action, taking into consideration that issues pertaining to COVID-19 pandemics. So I want to say here that these are the guidelines according to the SOPs, and these are not only about the ideas. These are the ideas that make to be happen and make to be happen and will do it. So for the presenting scenario, it is very much important that we should change our thoughts because we are now in a situation that we are transform our lifestyle. So it is very much important to all of us. We should change our thoughts and we should follow the guidelines which are given in the SOP. By the quotation, Mandy Hale said that never stop trying, never stop believing, never give up. Then only your day will come. So, my dear friends, really, if we never give up, then only the happy days will come again, the pleasant days will come again. So, with this, I bind up our presentation here and thank you all for the patience listening.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the excellent talk on how to deal with the challenges to be expected after this lockdown period, and how we can manage all these things, all these challenges after reopening the nursing institutions. What we have to keep at all times, in all the aspects, whether it is the classroom teachings, whether it is about the valuation of the students, whether it is the recording of the students' learnings, all these things. It is a very important learning how to deal all these challenges in the futuristic time. So thank you so much, ma'am, for this excellent talk about the challenges to deal all the challenges after this lockdown period. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am, for being the part of this webinar, for taking this expert lecture on the topic of standard operating procedures for reopening or restarting the nursing institution, a part of the COVID challenges. So much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. And once again, I thank the management of Jain Institute of Nursing and Research for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, sir.
I also would like to, yes, ma'am. I would like to thank all the viewers who have participated in this webinar series, and I also would like to thank all our experts who are going to join us in our future webinar series. Also, I would like to thank our management of VISM Group of Studies for organizing and encouraging us for organize such events today and for future also. Thank you so much.